happened to a lot of owners in baseball over the years. 8 o'clock, Bob Usler coming up.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN. Imus in the morning on the Fan. Sports Radio 66. WFAN.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good evening. It's 8 o'clock. This is Bob Usler.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN. New York.
8:06 on the Fan as we head to 9 o'clock tonight. I'm Ed Coleman with you till then. A lot of people out of work. With baseball ended for 1994, and one of them is one of the better managers in the game of baseball. He is Pittsburgh Pirate manager Jim Leyland, who joins us on the Fan right now. Jim, Ed Coleman here in New York. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Thank you this weekend. I actually think Rutgers will play fairly well.
Bring it on.
All right, Ron. Bring it on. Yeah, okay. All right, that'll do it. Jimmy Leyland, we got to thank Marty Noble as well. Thanks to Schwei. Thanks to Ryan. I'm Ed Coleman. Catch you tomorrow night with Friday Night Football. Dave Jennings at 6 o'clock. Bill Daughtry coming up after Bob Usler and the top of the hour flash on the Fan. See ya.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
Usler with 2020 Sports on WFAN, New York's flagship station for Notre Dame football.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN. New York.
And good evening, it's 9:05 in the world's greatest city, and it's also 9:05 all up and down the East Coast. Bill Daughtry with you on the Fan at 718-937-6666. So how you holding up in the first day of the postseason? The postseason where there is no postseason. In case you missed it, baseball, the 1994 season was laid to rest a little bit more than 24 hours ago by a guy named Seelig out in Milwaukee. And so now,
Your military affairs advisor, the late General George S. Patton.
At ease. I've called you people together here this morning to ask you to join me in a tribute to the finest commander-in-chief this old soldier has seen in many a year. Put your hands together for Bubba Bill Clinton. At ease, at ease. Just when we were convinced this jackass was going to be the death of our entire military-industrial complex, he completely redeems himself, in my view. You people saw his Oval Office statement. Brilliant. Given the collapse of communism, the equally regrettable end of the Cold War, no stomach for going into Bosnia, our nation's leader is taking the only logical step. Invade Haiti. As you were, at ease, Haiti. Perfect target of opportunity when your polls suck and you're facing an election debacle. They've got a 7,400-man army that has to share rifles, 1 fixed-wing airplane, 2 helicopters, 7 artillery pieces, and an armored personnel carrier that has taxi written on the side. You people, on the other hand, are going in with 2 aircraft carriers, 22 support vessels, 50 helicopters, the entire 82nd Airborne, and the 10th Mountain Division, for an engagement that history should record as the military equivalent of O.J. Simpson delivering a shipment of machetes to the nurse's dorm. Everything is in place. We're ready to pull the trigger. Now then, when you go ashore, your first objective will be to get past Dan Rather, Peter Jennings, maybe even Tom Brokaw. If NBC News decides he can say Port-au-Prince and Raul Cedras in the same sentence and live to tell about it. You might run into CNN's Peter Arnett, unless the expeditionary personnel we already have in Haiti can eliminate him early. At any rate, you'll readily recognize Arnett's position by the huge logo of a bleeding heart painted on his satellite uplink. Now, let's look for a moment at our enemy so that you will be able to quickly identify him. Private, catch those lights. Give me the overhead. Slide 1. All right. Do you recognize this individual? Right. Senator Sam Nunn. Whining wussy. Argues we have no justification for invading Haiti. I would ask the good senator, oh yeah? We just lost baseball and it's too early for the O.J. trial. Slide 2. Paul Sarbanes, Senator, Maryland. Sissy. Next, Joseph Biden has daffodils on his underwear. Next, Senator Jeff Bingaman, New Mexico. Jeff, Senator Jeff. Don't be surprised if we find Senator Jeff in a late-night tidal basin rendezvous with Barney Frank, if you get my drift. All of them, wussies and worse. The only man in the house, Bubba Clinton himself, pursuing a perfect policy for pumping his polls. Make a rotten deal with Cuba, forget the Balkans ever existed, bury the old lady. Has anybody seen Hillary in the last 6 months? Have the park police been alerted? Anyway, dismiss Rwanda as just another bunch of wacky Africans and invade Haiti. As I conclude my remarks, let's raise our glasses to our Commander-in-Chief, to Bill Clinton. The best way to make up for dodging a war is to start one. Thank you for your attention. That is all.
The Allied weatherman predicted a break in the storm.
Here's Rush Limbaugh, Martha, you moron.
She goes to state dinners with her lesbian friends. Makes big investments with high dividends. Forgets to pay taxes, but then makes amends. That's why the First Lady is a tramp. She won't do housework, 'cause it makes her sick. Doesn't bake cookies like the rest of the chicks. So that boring you to death with the rest of that. That's my point. Ted, you know, at the very least,
But you break just like a little girl. Imus in the morning.
2020 Sports.
guys, and almost in Sacramento, California with Scott Minnie. Nice move from NEWFM in New York to Police Radio here in Sacramento. Scottsdale.
That was Dead-Eye Dick, New Age girl. She don't eat meat, but she sure likes the bone. A refreshing point of view for a change from a Generation X band. You know, I'm getting a little tired of all the oppressively negative music out there lately. Bandloads like Beck with singles like I'm a Loser Baby, So Why Don't You Kill Me? From albums like One Foot in the Grave. REM is a top 10 hit with an admonition against suicide. Everybody hurts. Like if you're thinking about killing yourself, you give a when anybody else is going through. Green Day's new album has 2 separate songs winding their way up the charts. Jesus, what's their problem? I'm tired of listening to these pampered puppies complain that their lives lack meaning and direction, that they're feeling emotional alienation and isolation. The hottest thing today in music is Nathan Cavallari, an 11-year-old Australian kid who sings the f***ing blues. Well, what the hell does an 11-year-old have to sing the blues about? Well, na-na-na-na-na, woke up this morning, na-na-na-na-na, my Nintendo was broke. Na-na-na-na-na, had me a wet dream, na-na-na-na-na, my pajamas are soaked.
That'll be enough.
The thing is, the majority of today's youth is vapid and soulless, as you can plainly see on The Real World, where the most earth-shattering confrontation of the season has nothing to do with the roommate who's HIV positive, but the unwashed ass-white punk being kicked out of the house. That's the life and death situation, not the fact that Pedro has AIDS.
Oh, no, of course not.
But it's not entirely the fault of the MTV demographic. Although its problems were myriad, the major drawback of Woodstock 2 was that it had no generationally defining meaning. The original Peace and Love Festival was the final unification and coming out party for the Flower Children. But unfortunately, the only thing it had in common with its 25th anniversary successor was the mud. In 1969, we were protesting the war in Vietnam. And so if you ask me, I think the invasion of Haiti is a great idea. It'll give these little lost lambs something to do. And not only will it give purpose to a generation so desperately in need of one, but hopefully it'll send a lot of them into Canada, where if we're lucky, they'll finally understand the meaning of life and start writing some happy f***ing songs.
I don't care if it rains or freezes, soon as I got my plastic Jesus riding on the dashboard of my car.
Sing your song, girl.
I can go 100 miles an hour, long as I got the almighty power stuck up there with my pair of fuzzy dice.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
out of business. It simply didn't cut it. All right, ESPN Radio, of course, now goes nationwide. But, yeah, it was a nice try in those days. But I'll tell you what, some of my paychecks never came through at the end, I'll tell you this. So number 29 still owes me a few bucks here. But he's one of the 40 most influential people here in the last, in SI's 40 years, whatever. You make sense of it. 9 o'clock, Meeks up next.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
Degrees. Skies are partly sunny, and that's what's happening. This is John Benko at 2020 Sports on WFAN, New York's flagship station for Notre Dame football.
Sports Radio 66, The Fan, WFAN, New York.
9:06 on the Fan. Ed Coleman heading to 10 o'clock this morning. The dog will be in then, take you to Notre Dame football on the Fan. And that will be against Michigan State today. 937-6666. That's phone number 718 is the area code. So we go back on the phones. We got some people waiting here, like Kevin in Plainview, who joins us. Kevin, how are you today?
Good morning, Ed. How you?
All right, baby.
This is a good one, huh?
This is a good movie, Eddie.
I'm not going to steal your.
No, I was, I guess I got to do the Harper thing at the top, but I mean, it was a. See, the amazing thing is, I cannot get over the fact that me personally does not know anything about that era. Well, I never even heard of Charles Van Doren until 2 days ago. Yeah. Never heard of him. You lived through it. I didn't do that.
Yeah. How was, I would imagine this guy was great. John Turturro as Hempel was
very,
right?
I tell you, Paul Schofield was great.
Yep.
And Ralph Fiennes. Yep. He was in Schindler's List. Oh, great.
Rob Morrow, pretty good too.
They're all good, Eddie. Yeah. You'll see it.
Yeah, I'll see it. Maybe even tonight. Chris will have the review for you coming up.
Yeah.
We'll see you, folks.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for New York Jets football.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN, New
Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Christopher Russo on a Fan on a Saturday here in New York. Good to have you with us on the 17th day of September, 1994. 718-937-6666, 2A Sports Talk telephone number. Mike Hayes, Lisa Johnson across the way. Good to have you with us until 1. And a good show on the board for you today. Mike Gottfried is going to do that.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN, New York.
Hold on, buddy Dave Jennings wants a word.
I guess British Open Masters.
Who's the guy for the year?
I guess the British Open and the Masters one.
Well, I mean, Tabasco can't win a Preakness in the Belmont.
Well, let's say you're Alonso Sanchez, then. What if he just wins those two Grand Slam ones and does nothing else the rest of the year?
Well, Joe, I think the Grand Slams are what it's all about. Nobody cares who won Stuttgart. Good job, Joel. Good job, Robert. We'll get back here after 11 with Jerry Bailey of Devil's Stew on the horse today. Back after this.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
Today on the skies are mostly sunny. That's what's happening. This is John Minko with 2020 Sports on WFAN, New York's flagship station for Notre Dame football.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN, New York.
All right, back on the Fan for hour number 2 today. Nice to have you with us. Talking about the world of sports. Been a good first hour. You had Mike Gottfried about the Florida-Tennessee game, and you have other things going on, and obviously you have a big race today. It's on ESPN. It's 4 o'clock. It's the Woodward. And Jerry Bailey, good buddy of ours, will be on. He will be on Devil's Due, and he will be on that race. Mike Smith's been on it, but Jerry Bailey will run him today, and Jerry is on the Fan right now.
20.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN, New York.
I didn't mean to yell at Jean there, so if she got upset at me, I apologize. He did go to the U.S. Open. That did not look good. And Bud Selig was at the Miami-Green Bay game last Sunday in Milwaukee, and that did not look good. I'll grant you that. Noontime, Delisi, coming back another hour or so with your phone calls and other things on the Fan of Rooney. Come on back yourself.
Sports Radio
DeLisi with 2020 Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for New York Jets football.
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN, New York.
I'm still watching that Giants-Yankees 62 series. Can't get my eye off it. A little baseball. Keep myself pumped up. 12:05, hour 3. Nice to have you with us. 718-937-6666. And speaking of baseball, don't forget that Ken Burns that Ken Burns documentary, and it's a documentary that's probably not the correct word for it. Epic might be. Not like
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN, New York.
on the fan. Here's Kenny in Howard Beach, Long Island.
Sports Radio 66,
The fan!
WFAN, New York.
All right, on the fan for Terry Cashman's.
Life with your new love.
All right, thank you, Terry.
Bye-bye.
It's Terry Cashman, our buddy. I'm sorry for these last couple calls, Mark, Rich, and Scott, who we did not get in. Rhodes hit a homer in Game 2. He hit a home run. He got a pinch hit single in the 5th that tied the game and hit a homer in the 7th that got the insurance run in. So 2 homers for Rhodes, first 2 games World Series. We'll see you Monday at 1. Enjoy your weekend on the fan. Adios.
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. I'm Vince DeLisi. Let's check Vince DeLisi with 2020 Sports on WFAN, New York's flagship station for Notre Dame football.
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN, New York.
It's 1:04 on the fan. A good afternoon, everyone. Ian Eagle taking you until 2:40 today. And then we hand it over to Tony Roberts and Tom Pagno with Notre Dame football, the Fighting Irish, taking on the Michigan State Spartans a little bit later on. We'll keep you company until then at 718-937-6666. Middle of September. More often than not, we'd be talking about baseball, but of course, as we know, that point is absolutely moot. But who...
Out of the Bronx, a topic that was recently discussed on WFAN in New York with host Mandog Russo and Bronx Borough President Fernando Ferrar.
You've got fabulous talent there that can be promoted in the African American and Latino communities. You want to get people in that stadium? Promote them.
Well, the team has, or the players. I mean, I read those comments today, Jose. Fernando. You made it sound like...
Chico. Whatever your name is. If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning. That's what sports radio is.
Hey, Chico.
Imus in the morning on the fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good evening. It's 10 o'clock. This is Bob Husler. And I mean, it is just time to stop. And Charlie Watts, I thought Lloyd Benson was playing the drums. For the Stones.
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
You've just been in too good a mood lately.
Yeah. We're all waiting.
I mean, I just don't know what's going on.
I love this woman. That's what it is.
I'm glad she can run. Because about a year from now, she will be running.
It's going to be important.
He'll run into his funeral.
Then run into the lawyer's office.
and then run into the bank.
Yeah.
To the liquor store to party.
Imus in the morning on the fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good morning. It's 9 o'clock. I'm Vince DeLisi.
NFL Now. 2020 Sports.
Good morning. I'm Vince DeLisi checking college football, Florida.
Imus in the morning.
Ought to be be prosecuted for murder if he sends troops in there.
Well, I think that's a little strong, don't you think?
No, it's not strong at all.
John, get off the phone. All right, now here, live from my guest Port-au-Prince is Dan Rather, CBS News. Good morning, Mr. Rather.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good morning from the land of voodoo drums and mangoes.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning. There is some cosmic irony in that the reports we have is that the United States is going to carpet bomb Haiti with Japanese radios. And I guess they're going to include the batteries because there's apparently no place for the folks to get them there.
These transistor radios that they dropped last night, that the United States dropped last night, did come with batteries included.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Of the day, Imus in Washington senior political analyst, the late, still very dead, Richard M. Nixon.
With the headline issue of the day, if you don't mind, Imus in the morning. And thank you very much as always. Well, so how goes the bungle in the jungle? We launched this onslaught by dropping transistor radios on them. Have we escalated to the feared Nintendo cartridge yet? Or, God forbid, the nearly inhuman Casio keyboard? Who's running this sideshow, William Perry or Emperor Hirohito? Anyway, JD, issue one, possibly the only matter we get to today, is the following. Generalissimo Bubber, or I can lick any third-rate tyrant in the hemisphere. Now, I'm probably not the first to make this observation, Dano, but the people hammering Bubber for this adventure into the abuses of power have said it's all political, intended to boost his ratings and contain the damage that approaches in the November election. I say unfair. The truth is, it's worse. He's doing it because he thinks it's right. Pretty scary, eh, Dano? Now, as you know, I spent considerable time as a keen student of foreign affairs. History records me as an expert in these issues. So my assessment of Mr. Clinton carries a certain weight. I'm sure you'll agree. He's an idiot. What kind of threat is represented by a country that you have to get past a Carnival cruise ship to invade? Who's leading the charge? Kathy Lee? No. Against the overwhelming consensus of American opinion and the worst fears of Congress, against common sense and probably the Constitution, Bubber is unleashing an American armada against three guys with scrambled eggs on their hats, leading a bunch of other guys carrying guns that drop a sign out of the barrel that says bang when you pull the trigger. And the mission? To replace a small murderous band of desperados with a freely elected Marxist nutcase who's been in a hospital in Canada where the patients express themselves by playing the piano in the day room with a hatchet. You got a sense of how this whole thing was going to go last week when we saw a fundamental difference between George Bush's Desert Storm and Bubber Clinton's bullets for ballots. I'm certain to be branded the cynic for making that observation, eh, JD?
Well.
But anyway, Bush bombed Iraq with daisy cutters. Bubber bombed Haiti with Walkman. Must be a generational thing, you suppose? Bill Clinton, a young man who steered himself around a war that many Americans found objectionable, now ordering men into a war that many Americans find objectionable. You suppose he'd now prosecute any who might say, hell no, I won't go? Well, just a thought. Anyhow, to conclude, I live for the day now. Well, no, I guess I really don't. No, you don't. Let me put that another way. What I'd passionately like to see, Bob Dole in a Republican response to President Clinton's Oval Office address of last week, looking solemnly into the camera to deliver the following message to Bubber. Your time is up. Leave now, or we will force you from power. Because in my view, the overarching question here is not how Clinton can dislodge Cedrus, but rather how can we dislodge Clinton? And that's another unflinching look through the Dick scope, Dano, by Dick Nixon, who bombed him silly himself when it was ho, 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 Chi Minh.
Well, Bernard, I actually think that sort of works.
Kinda.
We ran this.
He stood 6'6" and weighed 245, kind of broad at the shoulder and narrow at the hip. And everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John.
Jimmy Dean now.
Big John. Big John.
Big bad.
Imus in the morning.
Badly. They be screaming about no Sims. 3 o'clock, here's Ian coming up. We're coming back, so don't go away.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Hey, Rick.
Did they open the whole year? 4 o'clock, coming back.
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Hey, Rangers.
Minions of media mediocrity, here's the veteran broadcast journalist, Walter Cronkite.
Return with me now to the current issue of a fading men's magazine. Freewheeling, cavalier, disdainful fabrication. Yes, the familiar masthead of the glossy but passé periodical Esquire. Passionate defender of factual indifference. Once so very in the moment, but now so overbearing, as it increasingly exhibits the symptoms of senility.
Right.
How else to explain certain Esquire editorial decisions, such as the magazine's current cover featuring Woody Allen, curious darling of the Soho set, who never wrote a funny syllable, much less funny script, even employing midgets, K-words, and the term chicken. No, we bear witness in the October issue of Esquire to a periodical in validity paralysis, desperate for something, anything, to call attention to itself.
Right.
Rather than placing the radio icon Don Imus on the cover, subject of a 10-page October profile, the editors opted for the grotesque, Woody Allen, whose only interesting peculiarity is the fact that he sticks his Woody in a latter-day Yoko Ono figure who's his live-in daughter. By the way of the look what followed me home compulsion of Mia Farrow, herself the original waif-look lass who may or may not be secretly rendezvousing nights at some Eurotrash dive with Peter Jennings. Hearsay?
Yeah.
Perhaps. But I've decided to run with it,
Good.
following the lead of Esquire, which is suddenly hired as a contributing editor, a fact-indifferent reporter from the Washington Post, the paper condemned to languish forever in the long shadow cast by the New York Times. Perhaps seeking to demonstrate that two wrongs can make a right, Esquire has retained the services of... Perhaps there's a better way to state that in view of her journalistic methods.
Yeah.
Esquire has placed in its employ Martha Sherrill, footloose and fact-free reporter for the Post. Not only did Ms. Sherrill and Esquire suggest that the Imus radio show would take a pass at the nation's first lady with malice as opposed to satire, they further fantasize that the I-Man still thirsts for booze, that the White House uses the program for downfield bimbo blocks by Bob Bennett, and that the I-Man is a cutthroat skinflint consumed by money. I dislike the I-Man as much as anybody, but I dislike inaccuracy in reporting even more.
Fine.
Nor was the treatment confined to Imus. It's one thing to premeditatedly malign the shallow, rash, lowbrow posing as a sage.
Yeah.
Quite another to so loosely handle Tim Russert, the Washington bureau chief of NBC News and host of Meet the Press. And yet, Russert, interviewed by Sherrill for the I-Man Esquire profile, was similarly roughed up.
By the way, thank you for telling Morton Kondracki that you don't listen to me.
Wait a minute. She's wrong about the Heineken ad. She's wrong about Bob Bennett. She's wrong about Rush Limbaugh. She said you're handsome and healthy. I mean, she didn't get anything right. Hey, Iman, seriously, I called her up. It never happened. I mean, just so you know, and then we'll move on to important things. Kondracki writes an article in Roll Call criticizing me for going on Imus.
Yeah.
I called him up. I said, hey, listen, you bastard. If you go on McLaughlin Group, don't give me advice.
Yeah.
All right? And he said, did you hear this Limbaugh song? I said, I haven't heard it yet. He said, well, you ought to listen. I said, I look forward to it. End of conversation. You know what Miss Sherrill said to me?
No.
I guess I should have called you up and checked it out.
Checked it out, indeed.
Yeah.
Attention then, Ms. Sherrill. I've just gotten a glimpse of your journalistic future. In sum, it is this. You won't need that laptop to lap dance. For Media Watch, this is Walter Cronkite. Thank you, and good night.
And here he is after a busy morning on a Today Show and so on, where he blew a national radio program off to talk to a bunch of shut-ins and senior citizens. Tim Russert, good morning, Mr. Russert.
Good morning. Now that the threat of war is over, I did have time to look at this Esquire article.
Yeah.
And the picture is particularly striking. It looks like a Tucson's Wax Museum parody of the American Gothic, for Christ's sake. I mean, let me, are you trying out for the World Wrestling Federation?
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Well, that picture was actually taken in a room in my house, so...
Would you wear this outfit in to see Bob Dole?
Yes, I asked Bob Dole what I wore in to see him.
Barney Frank, I understand, but not Bob Dole.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Is it possible?
2020 Sports.
How about them Cowboys?
I don't think so. Good morning. This is Mike Green with Sports. Dallas Cowboys lose at home last night. Detroit Lions beat them 20-17 in overtime.
I dropped down in my easy chair and turned on channel 2. A bad gunslinger called Salty Sam was a chasing post we flew. He trapped her in the old sawmill and said with an evil laugh,
If you don't give it a G to your ranch, I'll saw you all in half.
and then he grabbed her, and then he tied her up, and then he turned on the buzzsaw, and then a long day, Imus in the morning.
mercy. It's Scotzo.
You know, they say anything worth doing is worth doing well.
Yeah.
And if that's the criterion for a magazine article, the latest piece about the I-Man in Esquire wasn't worth doing.
Well,
Now, I'm sure Martha Sherrill had the best of journalistic intentions when she started researching the piece.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive she envisioned some Pulitzer Prize-winning cover story that would place her in the annals of literary genius. Well, unless Roxanne Pulitzer starts giving out awards, I don't think Martha's going to have to worry about the genius part. And as far as the cover goes, it's not her fault the Imus story didn't get the preferential treatment. They could only fit a picture of one pedophile, and Woody Allen won the coin toss.
shut up.
But boy, she really blew the lid off the whole Imus thing, didn't she? Imagine my surprise when, after spending about a month with a gargoyle of the morning, Ms. Sherrill paints him to be a cranky, mean-spirited, self-absorbed sociopath. Whoa! Wait a minute. Imus is an ass. Let me sit down. I think I've just had an epiphany. In this particularly tedious exercise in parrot journalism, Imus is imbued with all the qualities of Silas Marner.
Yeah.
You remember the mean old hermit who takes a shine to the little girl?
Wait a minute.
The only problem is Martha Sherrill is not all that convincing in her role as George Eliot. George Eliot, Martha, was a woman, in case you do a piece on him. Still, this had to be an arduous assignment. At the very least, it must have been difficult for her to describe Imus and Charles as being akin to an aging ice dancing team, knowing how much better Imus and Charles would look in one of those skimpy skating skirts than she would.
Yeah.
It must have been a painful experience to be torn to shreds by the wrath of the eye demon, only to have your own father say, in any case, I think the man's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, Pop. Just for that, I'm telling the band to scratch Daddy's little girl off the set list if and when I ever get married. But I think the main thing that bothers me about this article is that it reads like it's actually about her instead of Imus.
Well,
We get more insight into her character than the guy she's supposed to be writing about. I couldn't figure out why she spends so much time on the I-Man's taunting about her romantic vicissitude until I realized she's using this piece as a nationally circulated personal ad. Single, white, brilliant literary female seeks hunky millionaire with low self-esteem. She wants the reader to think of her as a young, upwardly mobile journalist with powers and abilities far beyond those of normal women.
Yeah.
At one point, she says of the fat Imus butt boys that she can almost hear their knees cracking as they genuflect in the I-Man's general direction.
Yeah.
I can't decide if this revelation is due to her instinctual canine hearing or just a lot of experience on her knees.
that will be fine.
Which, if I were her, is the talent I would focus on in my next self-aggrandizing article. It might push up that wedding date.
A vicious Scott Muni here on the Imus in the Morning program. It's a quarter till the hour in New York. Walden Books by me and Chuck Sage.
And I mean, it is just time to stop. And Charlie Watts, I thought Lloyd Benson was playing the drums. For the Stones.
Your radio sounds funny in the morning. You're listening to Imus in the morning.
You've just been in too good a mood lately.
Yeah. We're all waiting.
I mean, I just don't know what's going on.
I love this woman. That's what it is.
I'm glad she can run. Because about a year from now, she will be running.
It's going to be important. He'll run into his funeral.
Then run into the lawyer's office.
and then run into the bank.
Yeah.
To the liquor store to party.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
The reason that's the rule is because guys like Steinbrenner and Ted Turner would put on a uniform. Ted Turner already tried. If Jerry Jones thought he could coach it, he would.
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
The Jets.
Imus in the morning.
Listen, you know, that's not, I've heard of losing things, Spitz, but losing an intern in an hour?
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Hi, I'm Hal. Well, anyway, thanks to Lula Shepherd and Sweeney Murdy. Remember, tomorrow night, Mickey Mantle's Restaurant on West 7. What'd I say? Mickey Mantle's? Lee Mazzilli's Restaurant.
Just center field is straight.
Well, if you go to Mantle's, then head to Mazzilli's afterwards. We'll see you at 6.
Radio 66, the fan, WFAN.
Degrees in Central Park.
And that's what's happening. I'm Bill Daughtry with 2020 Sports on WFAN, New York's flagship station for Notre Dame football.
9:05 here in the Fan. I'm Susan Waldman. Be with you until midnight. Well, they finally took the sign down outside Yankee Stadium that said, "Thank you, fans. See you soon." It's now a sign advertising at Giant Stadium, the Grambling game on September, I think, 22nd or 23rd. Milwaukee Brewers just...
The following is another in a series of famed political resurrections by billionaire industrialist H. Ross Perot.
Rewriting the Marine Corps hymn, Amos. See what you think. I'll just talk it. Can't sing a lick. Anyway, here's a song written for Bill Clinton. From the halls of Mogadishu to the shores of Port-au-Prince, he's fighting our country's battles with his fat butt on the fence. That's all I got so far. Get more later. I'm back talking issues, taking the bull by the bag, picking brains, and yanking chains, Amos, because nobody wants to be a wallflower at the orgy, right? So I'm in. Let's look at this Haiti thing. Ain't an invasion, ain't an intervention. What do you call it? An inversion? Because it's being run from the perspective of a boy with his head up his That's how Bro sees it, Amos. 20 minutes ago, this Cedrus fellow was Ted Bundy, the Zodiac Killer, and Jeffrey Katzenberg rolled up into one. And now, all of a sudden, now that Carter, Powell, and that dumb nun have been down there, he's Moses, Vince Gill, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King. Can you tell me how that happened? No, you can't. And how did we get this bifurcated foreign policy that's being dictated by a past president whose foreign policy activities is what made him a past president in the first place? But you know something, Amos? I could have predicted this, that the Clinton presidency would eventually so resemble the Carter presidency that Carter would actually show up. It's just sad. Somebody please buy that pinhead from Arkansas a compass that points somewhere instead of just draw circles. So here's where we are. Clinton ran his mouth to the extent that he had to send troops down there to keep us from being even more of a laughingstock than we are. So there they are, 14,000 of them in a war on hold, opposed by everybody 2-1. The fellow we're reinstalling down there, Steve, wants to set a tire on fire around Bubba's neck because he thinks he's been sold out. And Cedrus and Bambi, or whatever his name is, not only are not leaving, they're probably already talking to the Pequot Indians about booking Streisand for the opening of the first Port-au-Prince casino. It's just sad. Now that we're there, Amos, what do you figure will happen first? That we'll implement an exit policy, or the sun will explode? David Broder summed everything up pretty good. He said Clinton's like the kid who jumps from a window into a fireman's net. After you know he hasn't practiced school, you have to ask, what the hell was he doing out on the ledge? Bottom line, though, he got it done. Although I'm not all that surprised. After all, Amos, the boy is an expert at avoiding a fight.
Shut up.
Much obliged for having me on your show.
My brother Fred is there just loading up the U-Haul. Fred.
Yeah,
Now, what's it? You're feeding four-legged Fred this Heinz, what is it, dinner rounds?
dinner rounds. Yeah, I may have to quit feeding at times.
Why?
Well, yesterday, he's just sitting there in the middle of the floor. I'm standing by the door with his leash, and he won't move. And I look down, and he's got a boner that was proud.
That will be fine. Holy cow.
So now we're both eating dinner around.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Are you out of everything? And
No, of course not. You know, people just tell you that just for this reason right here.
shouldn't you have some kind of inventory organization there?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have any inventory.
Yes, we do.
Send me a hat and a jacket.
Be about 10 days.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN. Don't miss it. Imus in the morning.
Hey, Bubba, what are you doing?
Getting ready. The bottom line for a major league manager is wins and losses. And when you lose more than you win, I think that it's incumbent upon the club to look for solutions.
The unfeeling Red Sox fire a good man. Scott Muni is here, one of the great rock and roll disc jockeys in the history of New York radio. Primarily works at WFAN here in New York, and he's come over to do sports, and it's not going to be a happy morning for you. Is it? I asked you to watch the Ranger game last night, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And what did you do?
I fell asleep.
Fell asleep.
Yes, I did. Because you know the way I figured it, I-Man? I was going to get the stupid scores off the wire this morning. Why put myself through the torture of watching a bunch of pant loads slap a little disc around the ice for 3 hours?
Well, that's a good point.
Well,
I want to watch people get violent on the ice. I'll just replay the Tanya Harding deal.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
earlier this morning, he tells me he has a sore throat and wants me to kiss his sore throat. That's Lou.
Well, that wouldn't have hurt you, would it? So
Well,
much?
You know, I have a sore ass.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Good God Almighty! I-Man got the blues. I-Man needs some of that Vital K. Hey, 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 hey.
Clinton will be in South Sioux City, Nebraska tonight at the Marina Inn. And Friday night at Grizzly Rose in Denver, Colorado. Sing a song.
Here comes the weekend, honey. What's going on? Do we put our feet up, honey? Honey,
How about you, baby? Shut up. She doesn't like you, by the way, she told me. I like her. I know you do, but she doesn't like you.
Why?
She likes Bernard and Lou, but...
What's not?
Decide, maybe help us answer that question after Mink's update at 5. Don't go away.
Mike and the Mad Dog, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
This is the vote later today on a resolution in support of, quote, the prompt and orderly withdrawal of U.S. troops from Haiti.
You know, what kind of deal is this? And we have Jimmy Carter saying, well, he doesn't need it. He's not sure who committed these atrocities down there. And, well, they couldn't send Warren Christopher down there because, he didn't have enough matching hankies for his...
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
I have gas heat in my house in Southport. Could this happen to me?
Not if your equipment is properly maintained and inspected once a year, and it's not a bad idea at all now that that technology is available to pick up one of those carbon monoxide detectors.
You don't need it.
I bought one for my mommy and daddy back in Missouri, and I have 2 in my house the minute they became available.
Really? Yeah. Why didn't you tell me about it?
No, I don't know.
Guess why?
What a jerk, McCord.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Are you...
Hey, Beavis.
Hey, Bubba.
What are you watching?
I think it's supposed to be The Simpsons, but, it really sucks.
You dumbass. That's not The Simpsons. It's O.J. Simpson. It's the trial.
I thought Homer looked a little different. Who's the gorilla?
That's Marcia Clark. This should be very educational for you, Beavis. They're doing the jury selection.
What's that?
That's when both the defense and prosecution counsel interview candidates to ensure that the jury is as impartial as possible, making for a fair trial.
How come, Bubba?
Because that's what makes this country great, Beavis. You're innocent until proven guilty.
So, O.J. is innocent?
Oh, no, he's guilty, all right, but he's entitled to his day in court.
How come he's going to court if he's already guilty?
That's the other thing that makes this country great, Beavis. Sometimes you can get away with it.
So, let me get this straight. Having your day in court is what makes this country great?
Well, actually, I think being guilty and getting away with it is the greatest thing, Beavis.
Beavis and Bubba here on the Imus Morning Program. What? Well, it was supposed to be Beavis and Bubba on a Haiti invasion, but Washington Senior Military Affairs Advisor, the late General George S. Patton.
Howdy. Welcome to a debriefing on Operation Restore Hypocrisy. The mission referred to by your Commander-in-Chief, Bill Clinton, as Operation Restore Democracy. Fat chance. As you may recall, I initially endorsed this effort.
Right.
That was because I believed you people were going to be able to go down there and kick some Haitian ass. However, that part of the mission is now being handled by the Haitians themselves. Private, catch those lights and give me the overhead projector. Slide 1. Thank you. This, people, is a photograph of a Haitian police officer restoring democracy. That is a coconut vendor whose gourd, as it were, the police officer smashing with his RDII, his Restore Democracy Incentive Implement, known colloquially as a tire iron. Regrettably, this attempt to restore democracy became more established eternity, as this individual is now taking the well-known democracy dirt nap, having vended his last coconut. Next slide. This individual is a past commander-in-chief, U.S. His name, Jimmy Carter. Believe it or not, he once had something to do with nuclear submarines. Now, he might show up at your door wearing a carpenter's belt and holding a hammer. Let him in and give him something to do. Anything. Tell him you want to house a wino in your basement. Just occupy the blockhead before he can buy another airline ticket for some other foreign destination. Jesus. The way Bill Clinton's administration works, it won't be long before he's holding seances, consulting dead presidents about what he should be doing. Yes, people, I believe you all are beginning to truly understand that it is amateur hour at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and that the inmates really are running the asylum. Besides a fat guy playing president, we've got a joint chiefs chairman who couldn't win a game of Stratego and needs a Berlitz course, and a Secretary of Defense, Bill Perry, who looks like he should have a cooking show on the Food Network. These are the geniuses who've taken it upon themselves to restore democracy to a nation that, frankly, people, hasn't ever had it, doesn't want it now, and isn't about to get it. Not while 5,000 clones of Snoop Doggy Dogg and Flavor Flav beat the shit out of each other on the Port-au-Prince boardwalk. And not when our idea of a solution is to simply substitute a deranged Marxist for a goofball whose main claim to fame is that he's got Jay Leno's chin. The clearest indication of the utter panic at the White House? Last slide, Private. This is Hillary Rodham Clinton. Look at that. Back to hair one, as it were. The 1992 page boycott. This is how she showed up the other day on Capitol Hill for her first appearance since her health care plan exploded. Well, she was delivering a speech on people with learning disabilities. One she should have delivered, it strikes me, in the Oval Office. No, it appears to this old soldier that the only reason the Clinton administration is so bent on installing Jean-Bertrand Aristide in Haiti must be because Fidel Castro already has an island. I say, use the damn thing for some atmospheric atomic tests and be done with it. Thank you for your attention, and as all.
Yesterday, Hey, Bubba, when are you, gonna blow something up in Haiti?
Well, Beavis, I'm not going to be blowing anything up. We've made a deal.
That sucks.
That doesn't suck, Beavis. It's a peaceful solution.
I liked it better when you were dropping radios on them.
Well, that's over now.
It would have been cool if, you were still dropping radios on them that were playing, Ace of Base or Bono or something else that really sucks. Then they would have surrendered.
Well, it's a good thing I never had to come to that, Beavis. We've restored democracy in Haiti without violence.
So, what happens now?
Well, the dictator generals have until October 15th to get out of office.
And then, you'll dig a big pit and, bury him alive?
No, we're not going to do that.
You gonna put him on a burning boat and send him out to sea like the Vikings?
No.
Well, what are you gonna do with him?
Nothing. Under the provisions of the agreement, they don't even have to leave the country.
But, what's gonna keep him from staging, another takeover coup?
They promised that they would.
And people think I'm stupid.
Imus in the morning, 2020 sports.
Here's a pass to Breland, in across the Flyers line.
You were christening yesterday, huh? Yes, I was. You a little queasy in that church? Why would I get queasy in a church? Won't you be there pretty soon? I'm saying I do. Well,
with your hands folded. That's the thing I did.
If your radio sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
I'm only happy that the Knicks won because I like Dave Checketts, the president of the Knickerbockers, and that his title. Yes. And speaking of all that, here is the president of the New York Knickerbockers, the aforementioned Mr. Checketts. Good morning, Mr. Checketts.
Actually, Cirillo had a good idea this morning, though, Don. He was thinking that I should offer to you at any point in the NBA Finals at halftime the garden for your wedding. because that's just so much like the NBA Finals. There's a clear winner and a clear loser.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Dial them after us now.
Flashback.
Recently, the Imus in the Morning program began broadcasting in Massachusetts, giving Imus an entree to my home state constituents and an opportunity to dredge up, let me rephrase that, to remind them of an unfortunate incident in which I was involved many years ago. Imus thought it amusing to play the recorded sounds of a car crash, followed by a gurgling noise whenever my name was mentioned. Sophomoric and callow, but limited, I believed, to his antics in Boston, providing me a haven from his insolence in Washington. Regrettably, circumstances have changed. And similar to a herpes recurrence, he is now broken out here in Washington, giving me no respite. Now, I don't intend to be his helpmate. Therefore, I resolve never to have my name uttered here or any other place for that matter if I can help it, denying him the trigger, so to speak, for that inane sound effect. I'll simply be known as a prominent Massachusetts legislator. No name, title, or any specific identification.
Telephone for Senator Kennedy.
Oh, no.
Senator Kennedy.
No.
Telephone.
Look, just hand me a note, okay? So this moron can't do that anymore? Is that so hard? My voice is instantly recognizable. So, actually, I need not say my name at all. And certainly under these intolerable Imus circumstances, with this bastard both in Boston and Washington now, I do not intend to do so. So, ask not my name.
Sir,
ask rather my...
I have a package for you.
Oh, really? Okay, fine.
Just an initial for me, and then sign your name right there.
Here?
That's right, sir. On the word your name is tied.
But this says Senator John Kerry.
That's right, sir. Just sign your name.
Yes, but I'm Senator Ted Kennedy. Oh, It's the next.
Howie Long. And, of course, NFL college picks all coming up. How would it go today?
Brooklyn Eagles. The preseason game this Monday at the Garden. Keep listening for your chance to win the next box office blitz. We'll have one in the next hour. And when we get back after the update with Bill Daughtry, we'll rebroadcast the interview I did a couple of hours ago with Rangers holdout center Mark Messier. Come on back.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
Richard M. Nixon. Yes, thank you. A privilege to join you as always. Imus in the morning. Well, let's see. I'm not certain of the time, but it's early, I know. So, has Bubber's foreign policy done a 180 in the past 20 minutes or so? What's on the old voracious superpower menu today? The dry Tortugas? Cayman Islands, maybe? Hey, I know a good one the Bilster could invade with minimum risk. 26 miles across the sea. Santa Catalina is waiting for the 10th Mountain Division out of Fort Drum. Go in there with the 86th Airborne and tell those Southern California cops how to behave in a more professional manner. Hey, man? Well, okay, issue 1. What they call Operation Restore Democracy, and what I call Operation Try to Restore Credibility. I know. But by this, throwing the mother of all beach parties in Haiti? I don't think so. The White House, if you've noticed, acts wounded, J.D., wondering why Democrats are distancing themselves from Mr. Clinton. Well, let's check some headlines and see whether we might pick up some clues. That's a good idea. Let's see. Haitian police crush rally as U.S. troops watch. Carter says he's ashamed of Clinton policy. Oh, good. Aristide says Clinton sucks. Clinton urged to abandon health bill. White House shuffles can't suck enough staff. Clinton stands foursquare behind Playboy Agriculture Secretary. HUD Secretary Cisneros' days as an adulterer bite him in the butt. Well, and yikes, what's this? Quote, many Democratic candidates steering clear of Clinton. Well, let me just read on from that one for a moment. Okay. Let's see. Democrats who just 2 years ago either campaigned actively for Clinton or embraced him as the best hope to broaden the party's base of support have now staged a run on crucifixes to thrust toward the president if the pant load gets within a congressional district's distance of them. I'm asking you, J.D., would you want that waffling wuss draping one of those big old flabby arms around you in some campaign stuff? Well, excuse me, Gary Hart, but I don't think so. If I'm a Democrat, I'd rather see Lorena Bobbitt coming at me with O.J.'s knife than see Clinton waddling my way. Anywho, some issues within issue 1 today. Do you know what mission creep is?
Yeah, well, we're revising our policy allowing our soldiers to intervene in Haitian violence.
No, you moron. Mission creep is Madeleine Albright, our UN ambassador, who said September 10th that Cedros had to leave the country, and that was that. Period. End of story. Right. Another matter. That dog and pony show at the Pentagon the other day. Namby-Pamby Perry, Shifty Shally Caswheely, and all the rest of them in that stomach-turning swoon to the loon as they bowed before Aristide. Yeah. There was only one thing wrong, and I believe you have alluded to it. The cannon were pointed the wrong way. So, where do we go from here? Yeah.
Well, the Beltway grapevine, J.D., is that with Aristide supposedly promising not to run again, and with Jimmy Carter having sold out our the thugs must go position, that one Raul Cedras is being seriously urged by close supporters to run for president of Haiti in 1996.
Great.
Ultimate irony, eh? Clinton's last year as president could be Raul Cedras' first. I'm telling you, he should have just left well enough alone, Ivo, and not changed his rules of engagement beyond, hey, baby, you make my knees knock.
Shut up.
Rough look through the dick scope today, but very precise, I'm sure you will agree. From Dick Nixon, himself a late former president of the United States.
Good. It's 21 after the hour here in New York. Of course, you remember, Saddam Hussein is still...
What are you doing?
Thank you for the very nice dinner last night. You know what we had, Charles? What'd you have, We had a baked potato. Yeah. With steamed cabbage. What was that other stuff, honey?
Steamed cabbage and kale.
Now, did he put the potato in the front of his pants?
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
That and the dictum that suggested or the mandates that priests can't get married is holding up Father Tom because he and a bunch of some other boys like to be in a position to get married. Well, wouldn't he?
That's just ridiculous.
I asked Father Tom on this program, wouldn't he like to be married? And he said his eye rolled back up in his head like a couple of pinballs up there at Foxwood, and he said, yes, I would.
You know what he'd like to be known as performing your last rites.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
If you've been thinking 2020 sports.
The Players Association and the NHL are unable to reach a collective...
Bill Clinton. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Gus, I guess I could ask you, the bed in that old El Camino wasn't large enough to play football on, so, Mr. President, what was that AstroTurf for?
You're old enough to remember what it was like.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
I'm guilty of a lot of things, but I didn't ever do that. But I don't think I should disclaim it, really. Just leave it out there.
I mean, it's like saying you didn't inhale, Mr. President. I mean, come on here.
No, I just said I didn't inhale in the back of the pickup.
Imus in the morning.
A sinus attack.
And my bat friend, Rush Limbaugh. Good morning, Rush.
My friends, mega voodoo diddles to you all. Time to open the old mailbag and check out the Haiti bill. Dear Rush, I can't tell you how disappointed I was to learn that we were not going to invade. The thought of American troops shooting a few thousand Haitians made the hair on the back of my neck stand up and say, Heil. Signed, Morton Kondraki. Thanks, Morty. What a concept. Stem the tide of illegal immigration from the source. Shoot them before they get on the boats. A foreign policy that I suggest could work quite well elsewhere. Tu sabes, Fidel? But alas, no such luck. This whole thing is such an embarrassment. Here is Bubba coming on like gangbusters saying Cedras has to go, there will be no deals. And then 20 minutes later, he's Monty Hall offering them what's behind door number 2. Why the overnight 180? Well, folks, it's the three faces of Bill. Clinton Carter, Clinton Clinton, and Clinton Kennedy. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. The Holy Trinity of liberal ineptitude gathered together for the first time on the world stage, determined to make history by repeating its mistakes. What a circus! In ring number 1, Clinton Kennedy. Here we have the Bubba who has patterned his political life after Camelot. The glamorous wife, the bimbos. Why, the only thing he doesn't have is a medal for bravery. For where JFK was in the Pacific on PT 109, Clinton was at Oxford in English Lit 101. But mark my words, the Haiti invasion will go down as Bubba's Bay of Pigs. And by that I don't mean the swimming pool at his family reunion.
That'll be fine.
In ring number 2, Clinton Carter, the Southern president with lust in his heart, bailing out the Southern president with lust in his pants. The man who single-handedly bungled the Iran hostage crisis, acting as the instrument of diplomacy for the man who single-handedly holds America hostage, negotiating the deal to rid the country of the three Haitian stooges, Cedras, Francois, and Biambi, with all the finesse and aplomb he utilized in that long-lasting Camp David Accord between Egypt and Israel. Excuse me, that darn history keeps repeating on me. And in the center ring, the third incarnation, Clinton Clinton, Bill and Hillary.
Send in the clowns. She's remained uncharacteristically silent during all this, hasn't she? You know, the idea of occupation instead of invasion had to be cleared by her first. What do you suppose is her angle on the situation? Another venue for her errant health care plan, perhaps? Where else would it be welcomed but a country whose idea of medicine boils down to suck on 2 frogs and call me in the morning? Of course, it will be difficult to enforce the $2 tax on every pack of chicken bones, but more after this. Here's Rush Limbaugh to sing. Well, I ain't no friend of Hillary's. She ain't no friend of mine. Her husband is another who can't kiss my behind. But we're stuck with both those Clintons. And time keeps dragging on. Rush Limbaugh. Let white water keep on rolling, just like a rolling stone. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, don't ever be a liberal. They're all such simpletons, like to shoot that Janet Reno, just to watch her die. And when I think about the cabinet, I hang my head and cry. Lloyd Bentsen don't remember if he was ever briefed by Gene Hansen or Josh Steiner, that nerdy Treasury chief. Roger Altman says he never knew about the RTC. Though Margaret Williams supposedly told him it would paralyze Hillary. Rush Limbaugh as Johnny Cash. Rush Limbaugh. He's singing this. If they freed me from the Clintons, if this country were all mine, if these damn white water hearings turned out not to be benign, I'll send those Clintons both to prison. And there they'll have to stay. Think I know now why Vince Foster, he blew himself away. Rush. Good night, everybody. Good night, Bill Clinton. Thank you, Bill Walker. Rush Limbaugh here on the Imus-WFAN program. 14 minutes till the hour. Coming up this morning, Connecticut Senator Joseph Lieberman. Good morning, Senator Lieberman. Hey, Don. Hey, first of all, do you know where Michael Jackson is?
I think he's in Southport, Connecticut.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the Morning.
Let me ask you just a couple of questions about that mess in New Jersey, and not necessarily about that particularly, but when you were running in Connecticut, how did you handle keeping the vote down in various areas when you ran?
I came on your show.
Imus in the Morning.
Pretty good there, Senator.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
All right. To pay, if you're willing to just say, okay, blank check mark, whatever will make you happy, we'll give you. I don't want to hear anything about greedy players and overpaid people because you're endorsing it. Thanks to Hayes, thanks to Mink, Richard Neer. Catch you again next Saturday at 6. That observed another slow white Bronco in the area.
This is the 50,000-watt clear channel voice of the Mets, Jets, Knicks, Rangers, and St. John. The Fan. Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York. WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good morning at 10 o'clock. This is John Minko. September 1994. Good to have you aboard. Good to be with you on this Saturday here in New York. Lots going on. You got all the Phil Simms stuff. You got all the college football stuff. You got all the hockey stuff. The NBA now talking lockouts. We're here until about 1:40. Notre Dame and Purdue will follow that. Some college football this afternoon. We'll talk about that. We got a fight. Bob Ushler with 2020 Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for New York Jets football. 9:06 on the fan. We're heading to 10 o'clock tonight. Ed Coleman here with you. ESPN Radio then. At the top of the hour, we are endeavoring to get a hold of the principals of the Lennox Lewis Oliver McCall bout, if you want to call it that, over in England. Might not be easy. We'll check the pubs, folks. See if we can get a hold of Lennox or Oliver, one or the other. Lennox has his sentence about him. I guess he does.
Tomorrow, noon to 7. Noon to 7 with the NFL in action. We'll get some sleep and be right back at you with the NFL. Thanks to Lula Shepard. Thanks, of course, as always, to Magic, Lisa Johnson, Kevin Kelly, and Donald Evans for joining us tonight as well. And you, the callers, of course. I'm Ed Coleman. Catch you tomorrow at noon. We'll see you. Have a good night, folks.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan. WFAN.
Talk, the Yankees may move out of the Bronx, a topic that was recently discussed on WFAN in New York with host Mando Russo and Bronx Borough President Fernando Ferrar.
You've got fabulous talent there that can be promoted in the African American and Latino communities. You want to get people in that stadium? Promote them.
Well, the team has, or the players. I mean, I read those comments today, Jose. You made, Fernando, you made it sound
Chico. Whatever your name is. If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
That's what sports radio is.
Hey, Chico.
In the morning on the Fan. Sports Radio 66. WFAN.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York, WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good evening. It's 10 o'clock. This is Bob Ushler.
This morning, our Kinky Friedman and the White House correspondent for ABC News, Brett Hume. Mr. Friedman is already here.
I like it here. My friend I-Man.
Oh, Lord.
Your generosity and loyalty over the years is very much appreciated because a lot of people, contend that you're not. I think Imus is a giver in a taker's body. That's
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Now live from El Paso, Texas, my brother Fred Imus with the Tri-State GP Eagle Sports Lock of the Weekend. Good morning, friend.
Good morning. You know, they think John Elway may be involved in that O.J. Simpson thing.
No, they don't, Fred.
Well, have you been watching the news?
Yes.
Well, they come up with a witness that observed another slow white Bronco in the area.
In the morning on the Fan. Sports Radio 66. WFAN.
Now, did he put the potato in the front of his pants or the back of his pants?
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
That and the dictum that suggested or the mandates that priests can't get married is holding up Father Tom because he and a bunch of some other boys like to.
Oh, come on, come on. That's just ridiculous.
I asked Father Tom on this program, wouldn't he like to be married? And he said his eyes rolled back up in his head like a couple of them pinballs up there at Foxwood, and he said, yes, I would.
You know what he'd like to be known as performing your last rites.
In the morning on the Fan. Sports Radio 66. WFAN.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN New York, WFAN 2020 Sports.
Good afternoon at 1 o'clock. This is John Minko.
I don't care if it rains or freezes, as long as I got my plastic Jesus riding on the dashboard of my car. I can go 100 miles an hour as long as I got the almighty power stuck up there with my hair up 'cause he died.
Hallelujah now.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
And again, amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Hi, friends. It's the Right Reverend Dr. Billy Saul Hargis, God's other son. Here with a tale of woe today, dearly beloved. A story of trouble, of sorrow, degradation, trial, and tribulation. A story that cuts right straight to the breakdown of the nuclear family that's at the bottom of our societal collapse.
A narrative, sisters and brothers, of the loss of love between a mother and her boy. And you know what I'm talking about, I know you do. Yes, friends, O.J. Simpson's mama ain't got no teeth. I said O.J.'s mama ain't got no teeth. You probably saw her like I did, poor thing, sitting there on nationwide TV, 99-year-old with a mouth full of nothing. Just 3 poor old teeth hanging on for dear life, leaning every which way like a broke-down tombstone. My friends, O.J.'s mom was asking for America. Yes, sir, praise God. You heard her. You might have thought she was asking for America for O.J., but she wasn't. No, sir. She was asking for America for her mouth. She was asking for a set of teeth, friends. Well, I heard that call, and between you and me, we're going to answer that prayer. O.J. done granted dumped his mama. Left the girl without any teeth. Revealing just how he feels about women, friends. Anybody who wouldn't buy teeth for his mama will take a bone-handled knife to anybody, friends, to Miss America or Barbara Bush. Shunted to life siding by a spouse-battering, waiter-splattering, 2-bit actor kid. Done left her a grit-scumming, harp-humming, banjo-strumming old lady. Where'd your teeth go, girl? Where's your choppers, mama? That poor scump-IQ'd kitty, you'll knock him out? Is that what happened? Anybody who wouldn't buy teeth for their mama is guilty of whatever the charge says, friends. Praise Jesus. And friends, this shall not stand because you and me won't let it. And that's why I'm announcing a new charity drive today, beloved. Molars for Mama. You heard right. Molars for Mama. Gonna get the whole country behind me. Dialing for dollars for Molars for Mama. Somebody say bonding and porcelain laminates. We gonna rebuild your badly broken mouth, girl. We gonna reconstruct that caved-in kisser. Fix up that cavity of depravity. Knock the dents out of that mouth gone south. Yes, sir, friends. I want you to go to your phones right now. I want you to pick them up, and I want you to call me here in Del Rio, Texas. I want you to dial 1-800-PLUG-THAT-MUG. Let me give it to you one more time. 1-800-FIX UP the girl's mouth. And let's get some molars for Mama. Yes, she's going to smile again when we fix that vacancy so she looks like herself instead of Mom Maverly. Say hallelujah. France, can I get an amen now?
I want to grow up to be just like Jesus and never have to work. Just travel around from town to town, wherever evil lurks. Cross the Holy Land with rod in hand and sandals on my feet. But I'll stop a while and I'll share a smile with everyone I meet. Imus in the morning.
20, sport on the other side.
But Jesus, what the hell do you think they make vitamins for? You can't tell me you like this crap. You don't come home from work going, geez, what a day, I'm starving, honey. Any more of that kale left? What do you do when you sit down at the dinner table? Look at your plate and go, well, it looks disgusting, but at least there's not a lot of it. I mean, Karen Carpenter had come to dinner at your house and complained there wasn't enough to eat. Okay, so Deirdre's looking out for your health. I can accept that. That's what love is. But who are you kidding? Eat a bunch of weeds, then go outside and smoke a pack of them?
Shut up.
I'm telling you, Imus, you can't live on steamed cabbage. Well, maybe you can live on steamed cabbage, but we can't live with you living on steamed cabbage. You're a walking Mount St. Helens. You think Charles wants you to buy the First Alert deals because he's afraid of your heating system? He wants you to get gas detectors installed because he's afraid of your digestive system. Needles pegged in the red. Take cover. He's gonna blow. Besides, you can't afford to eat healthy. Look at yourself in a mirror. Better yet, check out the picture of you two at Esquire. She's fit, trim, solid. She can crack walnuts in her armpits, and you look like a f***ing sock puppet. What you don't seem to realize is Coleman's eating behind your back. I'm telling you, she's too good looking to be a vegetarian. Know how I know? Linda McCartney's a vegetarian, okay? Get my point?
Well, yeah.
I guarantee you, Deirdre's grabbing a BLT on the QT every now and then. You just don't eat a bowl of rocks and then go run 60 miles in 20 minutes. It ain't humanly possible. Now, I'm not saying that this next scenario is true, but it is conceivable. Deirdre is, in addition to being drop-dead gorgeous...
Let me stop you here a second. Why are we sucking up to her? I mean, how many kiss-up lines for her do you have in this?
I just did him fat salad, drop-dead gorgeous. Well, actually, I'm meeting her for lunch.
You're an idiot.
You.
Finish this, could you?
All right, it's not unrealistic to think that she could plot the perfect crime, is it? Because I figure the way you're eating, you'll be dead from malnutrition 48 hours after the wedding.
Dead from something.
You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out what the deal is here. Oh, I don't know what happened, officer. I tried to get him to eat right. Excuse me, I have to go sign some papers at the bank. Have Manny bring the rolls around front, won't you?
Scott Manny here in the Imus in the Morning program, 17 minutes till the hour. Now we'll talk to Deirdre Coleman. She answers the phone. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, honey. I was just explaining how I walked into the one room of the suite there in Washington, and you were eating a Snickers bar the size of a baseball bat, weren't you?
What about the 4 hot dogs you ate at the U.S. Open? Well, and you made it sound like I ate a hot dog. I would eat cement before I'd eat a hot dog.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
You do this all the time. Also, last night I'm trying to tell you a story. How many times do you either ignore me, change the subject, or just tell me to shut up?
Honey, I've never told you to shut up, and frankly, I've heard the Three Bears a million times, so...
You're a jerk.
Bingo!
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
You know, the...
3, 4.
In the morning, 2020 sports. Kick on the way. The kick.
Desmond Lone Star Beer. Talking religion and politics for all the world to hear.
Yeah.
They ought to send you back to Russia, boy, or New York City one. You just want to doodle a Christian girl and you kill God's only son.
Imus in the morning.
You know, people have...
Look, if you're talking to me, your career must be in trouble. Joe Queenan. Good morning, Mr. Queenan.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. The last time we talked to you, you had bought a cheap cigar, and you were walking counterclockwise up around the reservoir, blowing smoke in joggers' faces.
Yeah, that's what they're going to describe the Jackal as having done for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about why it took so long to catch him.
Yeah.
Okay, you're looking for a guy who's a pathetic drunk living with a terrorist wife. That describes every middle-aged man I know.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning. Explain this $7,000 movie to me.
The character that I play is a cop.
Yeah.
We can only afford one take. I mean, this is totally different from like an Oliver Stone movie where they do 2. So we can only do the one take.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
No. 68 degrees right now, and that's what's happening. I'm Mike Breen, WFAN 2020 Sports, the flagship station for New York Jets football.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
And a good morning, everybody. Russ Salzberg with you here on this gloomy Monday, the 26th of September, 1994. The number, as always, is 718-937-6666. I will be here until 1 o'clock, and I guess...
WFAN.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan. WFAN. Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66. WFAN. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can. It's Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan. Nothing can get by 'em. Turn it on and try 'em. Mike and the Mad Dog. WFAN.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan. 26th day of September 1994. Nice to have you with us talking about the world of sports. Lots going on. All the football, the Colorado situation, and the Jets, and Mike Hayes, and no, I'm sorry, that's Ryan Collins over there. I didn't see him with the rugby sweatshirt. And Robert W. Gelb across the way as we talked about the world of sports. Good afternoon there, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, Doug. I'm a lot better than the Jets and mostly cloudy. That's what's happening. This is John Minko with 2020 Sports on WFAN, the flagship station for New York Jets football.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan. WFAN. New York.
6:05, and what do you say? Howie Rose with you on the Fan until football time tonight, which means after the sports flash at 8:40, we'll take you to Rich Stadium in Orchard Park, upstate New York, for the Broncos and the Bills. And in between, not only will we have a lot of time to go to the phones at 718-937-6666, we have a special treat tonight because joining us during the 7 o'clock hour, live and in studio, and staying right through the end of the show, which means he'll have some time to talk to you on the phones as well, will be one of the all-time pitching greats in Major League Baseball history, Hall of Famer Bob Gibson.